Connections. We're the Career Connections office, so to speak, for career services is really another word, a title for us. And what we basically do for you is that as you are starting in your junior, senior year, we work closely with you with internship programs as well as off-campus full-time employment. We also work closely with you with your resume writing and your interview skills and so forth. We give you these kind of workshops that help you prepare yourself for the job force, for the workforce, because you think about it, you're here for 4 or 5 years depending on your major, and then you're ready to go out into the work world, but you're going to you'll need some assistance on how to prepare yourself. So with this program today, we're going to talk about from higher ed to higher. Even though as you get closer to your graduation, you start thinking about where am I going to work and so forth. Well, it actually starts your freshman year in preparation to get to that point. So what we'd like to do is give you some basic steps to help you prepare yourself for the workforce. And that would mean just yourself as far as being a well-rounded person that is being interviewed for jobs, because that's one of the main things that interviewers look at. They look at a well-rounded person that is active not only in their work, but they also serve community as well as family. In other words, they can balance, and that's what they're looking for. happens, because now you can just shift the key and you've got all that in front of you, all of that wonderful stuff that's in front of you. So, what were some of the things that you thought were quite fascinating in that film, in that video that you saw? What were some things that were kind of mind-blowing? What was that?
1 in 5 breakups are right on Facebook.
Yeah, 1 in 5 divorces result in Facebook. I thought that was interesting. Facebook is becoming a divorce lawyer's best friend. Isn't that amazing? To me, all that information was mind-blowing. What was I using for you to show that, to see that video?
Technology.
What's that?
Technology.
Technology. YouTube, right? I was using YouTube. Use YouTube all the time. Google? How many of you use Google? I use Google every day. Every day. If I need to check something, even when I'm working with a student with resumes, I go to Google, because you can actually find information about certain resumes. It's amazing. I think I read one time where with Google now, you have more knowledge than I think the presidents back in the 40s and the 50s, the United States presidents. We have more information now that we know than those presidents did. So it's really amazing. So what have you noticed too? Our world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And whatever your major is going to be, or you're planning to graduate in, you're going to somehow be affected by data. You're going to be using that data. You're going to be using the mobile. You're going to be using the computer. How many of you been to your doctor's offices for like a checkup, and you now notice that instead of a folder with your chart information, what do they have now? A computer, a PC. Because now it's required for them to put all of that data in a computer. And since some of our doctors are not used to that, it's taken them some time to adjust. And I am one of the silver 50+ people, okay? So, you're right. Our time was calming. Well, now, most of us do use email. Not many of us use text. But again, we're having to adjust it. And I'll tell you what I thought was very interesting too. 4 generations are now in the workforce. Did y'all see that? The traditionals, the boomers, the X-Gens, and the millennials. All 4. But what's happening today in the workforce is many of your boomers are beginning to retire. So with that retirement, and remember, I'm part of the baby boomers. That was the big population explosion, so to speak. So now what's happening is that we're reaching that age where we're ready to retire and move on, which means now job demands that they talked about in certain fields that were not even thought about are now being highly demanded, because now they need a new group to come in. So what I'd like to talk to you about is some basic steps to get you well-rounded and prepared. Now, when I go through this with you, you're probably going to think, you're kidding. That's all? Well, believe it or not, it is. But it's so important to take these basic steps in your 4 to 5 years of college, because that's what's going to show up on your resume, and that's what can help prepare you for your work. So let's take a look from higher ed to higher, okay? The first thing we're going to talk about is your first year. This first year is your year of assessment and exploration. So what do we mean by first year on campus? Well, this is the first time that you are on campus. You're no longer at mom, dad, grandma's house, or whoever you were living with. You go, woohoo, I'm free. Well, you have to be careful about that, because with your first year, you have to get yourself adjusted. So what we tell you is that one of the things you might want to do is you might want to get a little involved on campus, because some of you may have moved many miles away and are attending ULM because of the major that we have. So we tell you, well, at least get a little involved on campus. And that could be, be selective in what you choose, and be careful and don't overcommit. Why do we want you to be a little involved in campus? You learn to balance. What else?
You get to know some people.
Know some people. You know what you're starting to do here? You're starting to work your social skills by meeting other people. As well as when you meet other people, this is how you start what they call a process called networking. Even though it may be your friends that you've known or you met and you become good friends with, a lot of folks have good connections. So it's good to be selective in what you choose because number one, we want you to be adjusted. And the other thing too is you don't want to overcommit yourself because if you become too involved, what's going to happen?
You're in the time for
What's that?
your times for other things to cross just the other times.
And what are some of those times? Like your classes. You got it. You have to learn to balance. This is where you're going to allow between classes because you're going to have to get your education. But at the same time, you will learn time management. That's what we're talking about, okay? So you can get a little involved in campus. The other thing is that if you're an undecided major or you're still maybe you're in a major, but is this what I really want to do? You can always take what they call a focus assessment test. With this focus, it can help you learn about work-related interests, your skills, and your values. It also can help you investigate occupations you might be considering. It may help you decide on a career, and it also provides you with some job-seeking help. We have this available in our Career Connections office as well as the Student Success Center. They have this focus assessment test. Another thing we'd like for you to do is register with our website, Career Connections. With Career Connections, as I mentioned to you earlier, we offer services for you to help prepare you for internships and off-campus employment. So we also have a listing of job opportunities for full-time and internships that you can review. We also encourage you to also get online, and we have a profile that you can actually enroll and register your profile information. So we have a database. So when the time comes that you can actually start looking for an internship or full-time employment, we have your information on that database that if you express interest in a job that is posted, you can actually say, I'm interested, and if they choose your major, we can actually send your information to them as well as we send you an email to let you know, hey, we sent your information, your resume to them. We also have a lot of other activities too that are listed on there, and we want you to just be aware that we are with you from freshman through senior year in high school. So it's always good to double check and see what other kind of activities and opportunities we have to offer for you through our office. Another important thing, how many of you have one of these sweet little things? Hang on to it. And always make sure you save your work on that disk. Because, you know, sometimes there's such things as viruses and whatever else that can attack a computer. So always make sure you have your work saved on this flash drive. Because you will use it. And you will go back to it. Okay? That should be your first year. So, freshman year just went by quickly, didn't it? So now the next year is the year of setting the stage. Okay, you've given yourself a year to get yourself acclimated, adjusted. You're beginning to meet new friends. You're also beginning, now you're starting to get in a little more into your major, or whatever which one you decide to, if you changed your major or if you were undecided, you now know what you wish to major in. So your second year, now you're really going to start settling in pretty good. So in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to join student organizations related to your major. It's a good idea to do that because when you actually are in organizations related to your major, you do have professionals from these, from these companies or from your major that actually will come and speak to your organizations about what they do in their job and what's expected in your work, in your field of study. Also, you attend conferences sometimes with these organizations. And what are some other things that you will do as well when you're in an organization in your major? You get involved. You may do fundraisers. You may do things within the community. Is that what companies like to see? You better believe it. So, by joining organizations, you will have that opportunity, as I said, that you actually can meet professionals in that field of study that will come and visit with you, as well as you may have an opportunity to job shadow. Do you know what job shadow is? Job shadowing is that you actually will go to their company and you actually will see what they do. And you have a mentor. And sometimes your mentor can also be your professor. or your instructor. So this is a good time that if this is the field that you're interested in, this is the time to really start settling in and getting involved. And at the same time, keep that time management going. You still want to stay active, but this is the time that you really need to start learning your field. Because if we go back to that YouTube again, somehow, some way, your major is going to intertwine with what was all that was going on, whether you realize it or not. One of you here may make a discovery that you didn't even think in your schooling, but your schooling laid the foundation. Laid the foundation for that. Okay? Oh, how many of you have scholarships and financial aid? Okay, this is very, very important. You need to make sure not to lose it. Because in financial aid, especially if you receive the federal financial aid, you're required by law to keep what they call academic progress, which means whatever classes you attended, you've got to pass a certain number of hours and have a certain GPA. Scholarships are the same way. You've got to have a GPA and finish your classes. So really the best thing to tell you guys is go to class. Make your grades. Complete your courses. Keep that GPA up. And then also too, if you do file for federal aid, you need to make sure you file your FAFSA early. Okay, we like to throw that in there because we like to remind you, you do have to pay to go to school. So it's important that you follow these steps and keep yourself going so you can finish on time. Okay? Now, we ask you also in your second year that if you need to update your profile for Career Connections, you can do that. You can go back in and get your profile updated. When you do put a profile in, guys, you're required to put in a resume. Don't be surprised if we send you a note saying if we think your resume needs work, don't be surprised if we send you an email saying, hey, we think we can help you with this, and we'll ask you, give us a call, or we'll show you examples of where you can go to update your resume to where it is considered professional looking and what companies will accept. That's just a good tool to know and to study for. At this time, too, you might want to consider a study abroad program. We do have study abroad programs available in the colleges. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to please look into it and get more information about it. Because we do have, like College of Education, I think, has one, and I think the College of Business and Social Sciences, I think, also has something, a study abroad. And it's really cool because, again, you're expanding your boundaries, and you're also learning the cultures of the different worlds. Again, that can apply to your degree. Okay, don't forget this guy. Always make sure you back it up. Back your work up. So don't forget this fella. Who knows, you may wind up with 2 or 3 by the time it's all over with. But you always need to have that to back up your work because you will do that. And I will have to tell you a quick story in which I actually had a student come to see me, and they had their key, or well, I call it the hard drive. And something happened to it, and he didn't back it up. He lost everything. And he was working on his thesis. If it's a master's degree, you write a thesis. That's a lot of work and a lot of research. So somehow, some way, he lost it. So be sure, guys, be sure you keep that information safe and backed up in your hard drive, okay? Now, your third year is going to be more of experience and experimentation. That's a mouthful. This is the year in which this is where you start looking into internships and full-time employment. You're saying, oh, come on, Ms. Pogue, junior year? Oh, yes. The reason why I say that is because companies now start looking 6 to 8 months prior to that student's graduation. That's why we have career fairs. We have a career fair September the 24th. And even though we really encourage our juniors and seniors to attend, we also like our freshmen and sophomore to come because that gives you a good idea of what is expected in our pre-career fair workshops. What's expected of you when you actually come to the fair and what the companies look for. But in your junior year, you can also start planning. You can start planning a summer internship or a fall internship. Because most of your classes now, or should I say majors, require an internship. If you're in medical, you're going to do clinical rotations. That's pretty much an internship. But for others, it would be an internship, like in, for example, business. Some of you may be doing an internship at CenturyLink. Companies like CenturyLink, you are paid while you're working. You're actually doing the work. And if you do a great job and they feel like that you can fit well with that company, you could be hired before you graduate. That's what we're saying. It takes a good 6 to 8 months to find full-time employment. By starting in an internship, though, you can start acquiring your experience and put that in your resume. Okay? So it's also here, too, that you can identify potential employers. So if you're working, you can also have employers as a reference. Or you actually could have instructors that are references for your resume. It's not going to be mom, it's not going to be dad, it's the people that you work with that have seen your ethics, your work ethics. And if they like you and you've done a good job, they'll give you the reference. But just one piece of advice, make sure that your references know that they're your references. Okay? It's pretty embarrassing. True story, it has happened. So anyway, guys, then at the same time, this is a good time that you need to start really looking at that resume, make your revisions, and again, we're there to assist you for that. So you can work with us. And let me say something about that resume. That resume is a working document. It's not here and I'm done. You're always going to update that resume. Always. Okay? But your junior year, this is when you really start kind of rolling them sleeves up and going, okay, I need to get out there, I need to get my experience, either through an internship, or, believe it or not, some of you may be working part-time, in a part-time job. If you are working part-time, let me say this to you. Acquire your knowledge. Acquire your experience. Because believe it or not, it might not be your major, but oh, are you going to use those skills when you do get your full-time job in your major? You know what I'm talking about? Your social skills, right? And what's that? Communication. People. Me talking to you, okay? Customer service. Those kind of skills. It's very important. And you know, some people may sit at you may sit at a computer all day long, okay? You may not have customer service, but I'm going to tell you something. You're going to talk to somebody, okay? You are going to talk to somebody. So you got to learn. So you're going to have to learn. You better learn to communicate, even if it's just your supervisor, okay? So it's important. Those people skills, all those skills will come into play in your job. And I said earlier, attend a career fair. What a great way to learn how to know about the companies and what they're looking for, especially if you're looking for an internship. They come to career fairs for an internship as well as full-time employment. But again, we still encourage our freshmen and sophomores to come to see it, to see what it's like. When you do come, you must be professionally dressed. That's another thing we require you to do, because that's a learning technique as well. Okay, 4th year. This is probably your final year. You're almost done. You're close to walking and getting that beautiful piece of paper that you've worked 4 years for called a degree. Okay? So with your 4th year, as we said earlier, you need to start early on your job search. And I said junior year, yes. Do I attend a career fair just one time? No. You attend the career fair more than once. True story, I had a student that did just that. He went to the first career fair, he got his name out there. He went to the second career fair, he still got his name out there to say, and he went back to the same people he was interested in, saying, I'm interested, talk to them again. By summer, he got an internship. By the time he graduated in the following May, he was offered the job. with the company he did his internship with. That can happen to you too. That can happen to you too. But you start early. But like I said, guys, I said 6 to 8 months. Usually it can be 6 to 8. It could be 8 to 9 months. So what is my advice to you? Start early. Start looking at Career Connections website. How many of you signed up with MyEDU when you went through? That's another great resource right there. Because MyEDU goes out nationally as well. And there's companies that actually look at your resume when you signed up for MyEDU. So when you go back to MyEDU, start building up your profile and put your resume in as you get closer. Because these folks do look. And I think I've had a couple of students tell me that they do, that they've actually had a contact from a company that has an account with MyEDU. So I just wanted to let you know that what you signed up for is very important. Be sure to use that as well. And then again, career fairs. So start early. Don't wait till you graduate. Start getting your feelers out. And another thing, remember I told you about networking earlier? Networking. Through family, through friends. You don't realize that that friend of a friend of a friend may have a contact for you. So it's very important that you network as well. Make sure we know who you are, because we do try to help you. Now, we're not there to find you the job. We're there to give you guidance and give you direction, but we say, well, try this company, they're looking for this, they're looking for your major here, and so forth. But make sure we know who you are, so we can try to at least give you that sense of direction that you need. And as I said earlier, any kind of workshops and fairs that we have, do attend. It's very important that you get yourself recognized, that you get yourself out there, and they know who you are. Now, one thing I will tell you, don't think that you're being a big head or that you're being vain because you're trying to promote yourself. They know who is being arrogant and who's not. Okay, well guys, thank you so much. Hopefully the rain will let up that you can get back to wherever you need to go. And so y'all have a good day and a good semester. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Go the distance without going the distance. Online learning with the University of Louisiana at Monroe. ULM.edu/eULM.